Welcome to Culinary Dislight, episode number 15. I'm your host Carlos. Now I apologize, it's been a long time since the last show, but we've been extremely busy around here in the Culinary Dislight studios. But we're back now, and it's fall, it's very close to Halloween, and there's nothing better in a cold fall day than some nice hearty soup. And this soup comes from Le Chefs de France. It's the French onion soup. With some Gruyere cheese and some French baguette, it's sure to fill the soul on these cold nights. So let's get started preparing the ingredients. This recipe is very simple to put together. We're going to start with 1.5 pounds of yellow onions sliced very thinly, a half cup of unsalted butter, 2 tablespoons of flour, a half teaspoon of salt, a half teaspoon of ground pepper, of course you can adjust it to taste, 2 teaspoons of dried thyme, 2 tablespoons of dried parsley, a couple of bay leaves, 2.5 quarts of chicken broth. I use low sodium chicken broth, some Gruyere cheese, which will be grated later on, and a French baguette. So we're going to get started by slicing the onions very thinly. So now that we have the onions prepped, that's really all there is to it. Is you're going to slice the onions very thinly, and that's it. In a pot, and you want the pot to be a heavy pot, a heavy bottom pot if at all possible. What you want to do is be able to cook the onions very slowly in a medium to a medium-low heat. You do not want to cook it on a high heat because you'll just end up with a greasy mess. You want the onions to be very sweet and caramelized. And in order to do that, slow cooking is the key. You don't want to burn the butter either. So we're going to start, add the butter, we'll add the onions, cover it, and then leave it alone. Don't touch it, don't look at it, don't do anything to it for a while, and then we'll come back and you'll see what it looks like when we're done. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of salt just to get the onions started. You don't need to add a lot, just a little bit. And that'll bring the juices out of the onions, those sugars, to allow it to caramelize. Now you don't want to touch this. You want to get the brown bits on the bottom. So that's it. Leave it alone and we'll come back and look at it in a while and see how it's doing. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes. We're just going to have a quick look at this and see how it's doing. It's looking really good. We're just going to give it a little quick stir. Turn it down a bit. It's going a little too fast. We want it to go slow. It's very, very soft, so the caramelization is going to start very quickly now. Now we're going to leave it alone again. check it in another 15 minutes or so. Okay, so it's been about another 15 minutes. So you can see it's getting nice and caramelized now. Looks great. We're going to add now the chicken broth, salt and pepper, thyme, basil, parsley, and flour. We'll add the flour first to make a roux. So next we add the flour, and that's going to be used to make a roux and thicken the soup. And next we'll add the chicken broth, about 2.5 quarts, which is similar to about 2.5 liters. And now we'll add the pepper and a bit more salt. The bay leaves, the thyme. Now I'm using fresh or dried thyme that I dried in my garden, but store-bought thyme would be just as good. And same with the parsley. And now we'll let this simmer for about a half an hour. So now while the soup is finishing up, I'm just going to prepare the baguette. I'm going to take the baguette and just cut it up into 1.5 or 2-inch slices that we'll put on top of the soup before we put it in the oven to bake it. So it'll be about 2 pieces of baguette per soup bowl. So that's ready. We're just going to prepare the cheese. The cheese is ready to go. We're just going to grate it right on top while we're doing it so it's nice and fresh. Nice pungent cheese, so that's ready to go. So now we'll just wait for the soup, another 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll be all set. Now that the soup has been simmering for about half an hour, we'll spoon it into the French onion soup bowls. We'll add the baguette and grate the Gruyere cheese on top. Then we'll add it under a broiler until it's nice and brown. So now that the soup's ready, we're going to add them to the French onion soup bowls. We're going to put the baguette on top, and then we'll grate some Gruyere cheese on top of that. I want to fill them about 3/4 of the way up. Now we'll place the bowl on a baking sheet and put it under the broiler just until the cheese is melted and it's golden brown. And there you have it, French onion soup from Le Chefs de France at Epcot. I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed making it. Remember, if you'd like to contact us, you can email us at info@culinarydislight.com. For more information on this recipe and others, visit our website at www.culinarydislight.com. And this video and others are available on our YouTube account at culinarydislight.com. Remember, if we can do it, so can you. Bon appetit.